What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Sunday Live. We are running late. Sorry for that. It's my fault. I was going through the technical difficulties. And Suraj is with us. Shikhar is not here today. Suraj, do you want to do a quick intro for people who don't know you yet?
Sure. I'm Suraj. Went to Carnegie Mellon, then to Berkeley. Started Radvine about 7-8 years ago, along with Srikar. Um, much more on the tech side of things. So any questions related to computer science, allied fields, all of that, happy to take. I also do a ton of data work in the background. So if you have questions around, hey, stats or data or anything around those lines, happy to answer.
Nice. Okay. For those of you who don't know, we do this every single Sunday. We're planning to do it at 7:30 p.m. IST, and we're gonna answer any questions that you have about studying in United States, or rather studying anywhere outside India. We could probably also answer studying in India. So, yeah, happy to get into it. But maybe Suraj, let's start with a quick update of like since our last live, what admits have we seen as a part of like
Yeah.
all the admits that students have received in our team?
So I usually divide this into two different halves. The first half is all of the tech CS related admits. The second half is all of the engineering management, MIM sort of admits. The big highlight for me was Carnegie Mellon Computational Data Science. It's a class size of about 35, 40, I want to say, depending on which year you're looking at. And we were able to get 8 out of those from Gradvine. Not all the admits have been given out yet, so I'm hopeful to maybe get 1 or 2 more. But this is a bumper crop for us. This is, in my opinion, the #1 data science program there is today in the world at Carnegie Mellon, and we have 8 folks that have gotten in to a class size of about 40. That's the one big one. Then I'm looking at a couple of University of Chicago applied data science admits as well. I think there were about 4 or 5 of those. Then in terms of computer science specifically, I think there were about 10 or 12 University of Massachusetts Amherst Masters in CS as well. On the technology side, these were the top sort of admits that I've seen, but I've also seen a couple of Texas A&M. I'm just looking through the list. Stony Brook has come out as well, a couple of them. We had a couple of University of Pennsylvania admits for computer science as well. So these are typically the kind of admits that we've seen on the technology side. On the engineering management side, I'm just looking at the sheet that we have here of admits. Purdue seems to have come out. Purdue might have come out last time as well, but we've had additions to Purdue engineering management as well. Then Johns Hopkins came out with a few admits, not all of them yet. Johns Hopkins has given out about 5 or 6 admits, at least Gradvine students. I think we will see this go to double digits in the next 10, 15 days. By next Sunday that we do this live, I'm hoping that we will add a ton of Johns Hopkins admits. We've gotten Northwestern and Tufts as well on MEM.
Yeah, I saw some Tufts question already. Any scholarships?
Oh, loads. Let me go through scholarships. So we've had Tufts half off. So that's about, I want to say, anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 scholarship. That's one. We have a couple of UChicago $20,000 scholarships. A few, not just 2. We have about 4 or 5 $20,000 scholarships for University of Chicago Masters in Applied Data Science. I'm looking at Georgetown Bioinformatics. There was a pretty good student that got a pretty good scholarship there. What else? Unfortunately, CMU will not give you scholarships at this point. It will give you a letter with a sheet that you will have to fill out. That's their way of basically trying to see if you have any competing offers, and they only make scholarship offers to students that have competing offers. I am fairly confident that we will get some amount of money from CMU for these kids, but not yet. Maybe a couple of more weeks to go for that. I am
Yeah.
seeing North Carolina State MEM about $10,000 scholarships as well. So overall, I want to say we've every year we hit the $1 million number in terms of scholarships. We've just started the season so far, but I think we are at about that 300,000, 400,000 cumulative scholarships at this point in time. We will hit that million in the next 2-3 weeks.
Also, for people, I just posted the link. If you want to grab 30-minute strategy call with my team, with our team, you feel free to grab it. It is supposed to provide you insight and details. The answer might be that, hey, you're not ready for United States, or US might not be the right country for you. And we just want to give you that clarity in that 30-minute call. And it is free. So feel free to schedule it if you have questions that we may not be able to get it today. I already see a bunch of questions. Everybody hold on to the questions. One last question I have, Suraj, before we get, last time you were not there, but there were a lot of questions about masters in computer science in US University versus Netherlands. And then in general, like if not USA, which other country people should really consider, like for example US, UK, Australia for tech in current period. So maybe we can give like a global standpoint of like studying in different countries. What does the landscape look like?
Yeah, I touched upon this in the video that we did, UD, and maybe one of the things we can do is just put that link. I don't know if people have seen the video already, but let me repeat the kind of framework that we have to figure out which country makes the most sense, irrespective of whether it's tech, for MEM, for whatever kind of degree, right? There is a 4-point framework that I outlay, which gives you enough ammunition to put all of the choices in that framework and then see if it makes sense for you. The first point in that framework, and this is by far the most important point, is how big is that country? How big in terms of population is that country? Let me take an example here. India is a country of about 140 million, so 1.4 billion people. Out of the 1.4 billion people, there are big cities that we usually live in. I am in the city of Hyderabad. Most of the technology ecosystem is Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi NCR region, Bombay, and maybe a little bit in Chennai. Combined, all of these cities have more technology jobs than some of the countries altogether. And so the first criteria on the framework is to figure out, if you're coming from one of these cities, any country that you go to should have a bigger population than the city that you're coming from. I come from, like I said, from the city of Hyderabad. I want to say about 1 crore people. Any country that is below that number is usually not a great bet for you to go to. The second factor in or part of the framework is, okay, there's people in that country. For the kind of work that I want to do, are there enough jobs / companies available? Let's say you want to do technology work, and then because of technology work, then you pick the right kind of country where a lot of technology firms exist. US as of now is number 1 when it comes to the number of technology jobs outside of India or outside of some of these other countries. And so US becomes the number 1 choice because of that reason. The third part of the framework is, okay, it's a big country. Okay, there are jobs. Am I allowed to stay back and take advantage of these jobs? So that's the short-term and long-term immigration. US at this point in time, short-term is sorted, long-term not so much. So that's one trade-off that you make. Because in the US, you have about, if you're doing a STEM degree, you have your 3 years of OPT plus the STEM OPT sorted. After that, yes, it's a little bit of a struggle depending on where you're coming from, what the long-term path looks like for you. But there are no other countries that offer you 3 full years of job search sort of a visa. And I will put this framework onto all of the countries that you've mentioned. Outside of the US, my first preference is the Netherlands. Yes, Netherlands is not such a big country. It's only about, I want to say 18-20 million people. Given that there are 4 or 5 really good universities in Netherlands, it's English speaking and allows anywhere from 18 months to 2 full years of work permit for you to find a job after you graduate, plus the fact that there are enough tech companies in Netherlands that are okay hiring international students, Netherlands by default becomes my second choice.
Mm.
Till maybe 2-3 years ago, Canada would have been a second choice. No longer. They have put a lot of curbs on immigration. They have also not done well from an economy standpoint and from a job standpoint. So Netherlands is number 2. Would you recommend Australia? I do not. Unless, the goal is to have a nice chill 9 to 5 job, a lot of work-life balance, and not really ambitious in terms of work wanting to work on cutting edge work, I would not recommend Australia. The third country on my list would be
Why
Germany.
so I'm curious. So there are jobs in Australia and people. What about the work permit? Like, how does that work in Australia?
The Australia is okay as a destination. So think of Australia as an immigration hub rather than an education hub. Even though there are decent amount of jobs, none of those are at the pinnacle of cutting edge technology. You will not see too many AI firms coming out of there. You'll be hard pressed to find a really good example of a fantastic company that has come out of Australia, except maybe now Figma, but that also bunch of things are happening here and there, right? So understand that in general, the kind of person that is moving to Australia cares a lot more about immigration, settling down, and living a life and making a life out in that country, as compared to being very ambitious, going into a fantastic institution, getting out and working at the absolute best companies possible. So if you're ambitious, if you want to work at the cutting edge places, Australia should not be on your radar. Now, the first choice outside of the US is Netherlands. The second choice is actually Germany. Germany, yes, is not such a big country from a population perspective. Yes, there is a German language barrier that is placed on top as well. But the big centers, Berlin, Munich, etc., have decent amount of technology work in multiple sectors, including manufacturing, industrial sort of spaces, automobile sort of spaces, also core software development. So there is enough amount of opportunity for an international student. The only caveat being knowing the German language. Without German language skill, it becomes very difficult not only for you to go through the education, but also to figure out the job after you graduate. But from a total point of making sure that it makes sense for you to go, Germany might make a lot of sense. So those are my top three choices.
Okay, cool. All right. I know we have a lot of questions, especially the admits questions. We are missing Shikhar here, but we'll try to fill his shoes in. But here we go. This would have been great if Shikhar was here, but we'll try to answer this question. Admits from Tufts, NCSU, TAMU, John Hopkins, USC, Northeastern for MEM, waiting for Purdue and Dartmouth. Among the admitted, which one would be the best to consider?
Yeah, I think the answer is it depends. It depends on your financial ability to pay for it. Simple as that. If there is no financial constraint at all, my high recommendation would be a Johns Hopkins. If finances are even a little bit of a concern, I would go to Texas A&M. Do not consider USC. Do not consider Northeastern. The others are in play, but my top 1 and 2 would be Johns Hopkins and Texas A&M. If you get either Purdue or Dartmouth, that's the one you should go to.
Yeah, Tufts is definitely showing good ROI, is at least what I'm hearing from the batch. So I don't know, like it definitely, I would say Tufts, John Hopkins, and then TAMU might be the 3 that we need to dig further, but also depends on what is the career that you are after, Aditya. Like if you are into product, maybe that's a different story versus if you're into like manufacturing and industrial, then TAMU might be the best choice. So healthcare might be John Hopkins. Again, it just depends on what's your domain, what's your background, etc. But yeah, I agree with Suraj in terms of no Northeastern and no USC. NCSU could be.
Here and there. Depends on, again, if you want to do anything construction, industrial.
Yeah. Okay. Masters in Computer Science for fall 2027. In my research for shortlisting University of Wisconsin, Madison is the one that is highly ranked and great research reputation. Is it worth to apply?
Yeah, couple of things, right? First, understand that at the master's level, not at the PhD level, but at the master's level, the amount of research that you do is only determined by yourself. Nobody else is going to go ahead and push you to do research. And frankly, the amount of research, the depth and the breadth of research that you can do at the master's level is fairly limited. You are only going to be able to do maybe a short thesis, which is maybe one semester long.
He's not referring to research. He's saying, according to his research,
Okay, you're saying it is not for research, but according to your research. Okay, got it. Wisconsin in general, fantastic institution overall, but there are two problems with it. One, the location is not great. It's, yes, close maybe to Chicago, but even in Chicago, there aren't really that many technology jobs that are available. So one problem with Wisconsin is the location. The second problem, and most people take it lightly, is the weather. My God, it's snowed in about 6 months of the year. It's terrible for you to go out. And I have seen a ton of students that go to Wisconsin-Madison complain about the weather and the fact that they have to remain indoors for a majority of the time. So because of these two reasons, I would highly recommend that you look at other institutions. But if you get into Wisconsin and that's your top choice admit, no problem, you can head there.
Yeah. Okay. Received admits from Michigan State and SUNY Buffalo for data science program. I'm waiting for Madison, Twin City, TAMU, Stony, and UMCP. All data science. Can you rank them?
Okay. I will do my best. I would say University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Again, this is ranking considering the fact that there is no financial constraint. If there is a financial constraint, I will modify my answer. But University of Minnesota, Twin Cities is number one on my list, followed by Stony Brook, followed by Texas A&M. Those are the only three that matter. Michigan State and SUNY Buffalo, pick SUNY Buffalo. Actually, either of those two are okay. I would just pick SUNY Buffalo because it's slightly more, it's slightly cheaper and gives you access to that New York City ecosystem, at least New York State ecosystem. But amongst the ones that you've mentioned, the choice would be Twin Cities, TAMU, and Stony Brook. One out of those three is what I would pick. University of Minnesota is very, very underrated. Yes, location is not that great. Weather is a problem, but the coursework specifically for data is very, very strong. The curriculum is fantastic. I've seen a lot of folks that have made it into analytics for a ton of sports teams. For example, the Minnesota Vikings and a bunch of others that exist in that region. The basketball team as well. They've hired from the University of Minnesota, either the analytics or the data science guys. So outcomes have been pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. UPenn, MSc in data science. What is MSc?
Masters of Science and Engineering.
Okay.
It's the same as MS. But the question is, what does worth mean to you? I mean, it's a expensive degree, but it's also University of Pennsylvania. It's an Ivy. That tag is going to be associated with you for the rest of your life. Will you get better outcomes than any of the other tier one sort of places? Maybe, maybe not. But in every sense of the ranking criteria, location's great, university is great, curriculum is decent, outcomes are great. So I don't know how you define worth, but it's an absolutely fantastic institution.
When should someone not consider UPenn?
When the financials are a concern.
Okay.
As compared to, let's say, a San Jose State or a TAMU, I'd pick a TAMU over UPenn because I can get the same return on investment.
Yeah. Do you know what's the fees for UPenn?
It's going to be $48,000 per year. just the tuition, and then 3 semesters.
Wow. Okay. GRE December 10th, IELTS December 22. Didn't even know whether I'll apply for fall 2026. Started shortlisting on 12th of December. SOP is done on 17th December. Received 5 admits, including Purdue MEM and Duke MEM. I guess it's the.
Fantastic.
Do you have
Congrats. Go to Purdue.
Yeah. I don't know if he has a question, but I'm assuming that's the question.
Yeah.
Cool. Got admission in ASU. Well, congrats. I don't know if that's the only admit you have. If you have others, happy to answer, but not like my favorite one.
Yeah.
All right. I'm planning for Masters in Computer Science, fall 2026, waiting for some decisions from university. But as I'm a fresher, should I go to USA this year or get some work experience and then go? Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, my opinion, get some work experience and then go. Depends on what is in your background, Aneri. So, like, if you, again, I know you'll probably post this, but if you have internships, let's say in 4 year of your bachelor's, and you've done projects and you have portfolio that is worth getting in internships, then maybe, and also depends on where you go. So it's a very low chance of maybe, definitely high chances of no, and then get some work experience, get clarity in terms of where you want to go in industry as well. And so that's what I would recommend. Suraj, what do you think?
Yeah. If you have not already gotten a decision for 2026 and you don't see yourself going into a top 20, I would stay back. I would get some work experience, figure out what you want to do. But if you get into a top 20, that's worth the trade-off. You can go build a profile in this meanwhile before you go head on to the university. And while you're at the university, you have to have a single track mind of networking, building projects, building profile, and then applying to jobs. So it depends on what kind of university you get into. But unless you get into a really good one, do not go.
Is a big city university the best strategy now that the H-1B wage level rule prefers smaller city? Thoughts on that? Oh, that's a very interesting question, Sriram. First, I mean, I'll answer my perspective, but then I want to see what Suraj says. So I mean, think about Purdue, right? Like, it's not in a big city. It's a super small college town, West Lafayette. But people who graduate from there, they end up working in Seattle or Bay Area. So I don't think you should choose university based on H-1B wage level. Choose university based on your career outcome and your interest in the program and all of it. And then let your job hunting process can be different. Maybe you end up going to Walmart, which is in Arkansas. So that might happen. And that's a different strategy. But I don't think you should strategize choosing university based on H-1B wage level.
Yeah, I would agree. Pick the university based on location. Location has to be one of the criterias, because that's a look. Even before you get the H-1B, you have to first get the job in order, and that is what I would prioritize first. And then once you get in, let's say the H-1B doesn't work out the first time or the second time, you can have a multiple plan B, plan C kind of for you to figure out remote working versus something else to game the city. But the first step has to be to get a job, and the best way for you to get a job is to go to a really good university. A really good university, in most cases, is in a good location. That's how I would think about it.
Yeah. Okay. 2025 bachelor's in IT graduate with 6 months of BA experience. I've admit from Purdue, $7,000 scholarship, and UCSD, $32,000 scholarship. Which one would be better for career growth and industry exposure? I am leaning towards USSD.
Yeah, whichever is coming out to be cheaper. There is no picking between Purdue and UCSD. Both are at the same level. I'm guessing this is for a master's in business analytics. Purdue, I'm guessing it's BIM, and UCSD, it's analytics. If I am not correct, please feel free to correct me and tell me what the actual program is. But based on analytics, either Purdue or UCSD, there isn't too much differentiating between them. I would pick the one that is the cheapest overall.
Yeah. So even with the $32,000 scholarship, UCSD might be still expensive, I feel, but I don't
from a living cost perspective, maybe, but tuition fee will. So Purdue's tuition will be about 30 to 34 per year times 3. UCSD will also be about the same. Both are about the same, but I don't know what the overall number of semesters you're going to be doing the degree for is going to be. Plus, the living is going to be expensive. You're right; it'll be about the same.
Same, yeah. So if it is same, then
if it is same, then I would pick UCSD.
Yeah.
Slightly better location, plus tons of companies around that area. Plus the fact that it's California. Yeah, Broadcom, Qualcomm, SanDisk. SanDisk is Western Digital now, but yeah, all of those are right there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Purdue, Dartmouth for MEM. With respect to placement, please help me. Very confused. PM related roles.
Yeah.
Ooh. They both are good.
Congratulations, by the way. Yeah. Fantastic admits.
You won't go wrong. You won't go wrong.
You won't go wrong.
Is how I would say it. But
look, I am biased because I've seen the quality of Dartmouth students. Sure, my co-founder is from Dartmouth, but apart from him, I've known at least, I want to say 6 folks very, very deeply, starting from undergrad all the way through their work experiences and going to Dartmouth. And I've seen how it has transformed them into individuals that are leadership ready. And so my recommendation would be Dartmouth, considering that there is no financial information or that there's nothing financially wrong with going there. But up to you. You won't go wrong with either of those. I've known folks that have made the decision to go to Purdue even though they had Dartmouth admits last year. And I was slightly disappointed when they made the decision. But after that, I saw that there wasn't too much of a difference between both of those.
Yeah. I've seen same. Like I've seen people choosing Purdue or Dartmouth from the cost and ROI perspective, and they still got it. And then people who chose Dartmouth were also extremely happy that they chose Dartmouth, and especially tech product side of things. I think there's a lot more avenues over there as well. So they actually have a product school and fun stuff. So you won't go wrong either. I think you're in a good hands. Cool. Now that the remaining steps are where and how to reach out and what help can I look forward to? Link is already posted, Ronak. Feel free to schedule the call if that's what you're referring to. I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to. Okay. What are the chances to get into Georgia Tech right now?
Georgia Tech has not released its computer science admits yet. We are waiting as well. It is going to come pretty soon. In general, they usually do March 12, 13, 14. That's usually when they release their computer science admits. They haven't released anything yet. What are the chances? I don't know. Depends on a lot of the factors, including your profile. But if you have not heard back from them, it's because they haven't released anything yet. So I would wait a little bit.
Okay. Got admitted into Northeastern University with 10% scholarships, Syracuse with 50% scholarship, computer science, waiting for TAMU. Which one can I consider?
Yeah, Texas A&M becomes your default number 1 choice. If you get in, that's the one you should go to. Right now, between Northeastern and Syracuse, if it's Northeastern Boston with 10% versus Syracuse with 50%, I would lean towards Syracuse. It is going to be cheaper overall. It is also going to be a smaller cohort size, which means that your opportunities within the university to find RATA sort of positions is slightly better. From a location perspective, Boston is better, but Syracuse is not bad because it's at least 3-4 hours away from a New York City. So it's still okay. Just based on small cohort size and the ability to get a TARA on campus, I would recommend Syracuse with the 50%. as compared to Northeastern Boston with the 10%.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, both have crazy winters though. All right, I have NYU Masters in Computer Science admit pending decisions from Georgia Tech, UCLA, UCSD, Purdue, UMD, Princeton, BTSA offer from CS. What
CS
is that?
Associates is a company.
Oh,
They do a lot of analytics and data science work, specialize in the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, one of their biggest wings is within the pharmaceutical industry, but they have a bunch of, it's a BITS alum org. But okay, NYU MSCS, at some point, please clarify whether it is Tandon or Courant. If it is Tandon, wait, I think you can do better. With a 9.2, you should get into at least one of the others that you have put up. If it is Tandon, do not go. If it is Courant, absolutely go. Should you take up the offer of a job or go to a master's degree? Look, my friend, you have a fantastic academic profile. That 1.5 years of internship is also going to help. I would highly recommend, if you get into any of the ones that you are awaiting from, except Princeton, if you're getting into any of the others, I would go. This is that time where you know exactly what the market needs from a incoming engineer or a data scientist. And so those 1.5, 2 years of your time in the university is a great way for you to build profile. Compared to a ZS, that ZS offer is going to be there even if you apply 2 years later. I don't see that as a fantastic high level ambitious sort of a job. You will get that again, but your chance of going into a top 10 probably will not happen again. So I would recommend taking it up. If it's anything apart from Princeton doesn't make sense. Tandon doesn't make sense.
So the little contrasting opinion that you will not have 2 years. You will land and you will have to apply for internship. So you are not going to get 2 years to build your profile. Yes, you will have 2 years to complete your master's, but as soon as you land in August, you will see Apple, all the big tech will have their summer internship for next year open up. So you are going to rely on your 1.5 years of internship experience to apply for the job. So I want to know, what does that 1.5 years, what did you do? Like, kya ukhada hai usme, right? So like, what was your accomplishments in that? What does your resume look like? Do you have a strategy? Come join our job hunting academy, happy to help you. But that is how I would look at it. I agree. Like Georgia Tech, probably if you end up getting TARA, you probably also get tuition fee waiver. So Purdue is good, UCSD is good. So I mean, overall, I agree. NYU, I would probably, I don't know, like if I would consider compared to
Courant, I would go. Courant is fantastic. Tandon, not so much.
Yeah. So right. Yeah. But I also want to know, like, what is your experience? It looks to me, if you are able to crack ZS, I have heard of ZS and it's competitive. So to me, it feels like you would be, like, you are in that position that you will be able to crack here also if you put your mind into it. So also I want to know, like, if I give you lead code today, would you be able to crack it? Like, so data structures, system design. So I think you have opportunity from now till August, so you should be able to go and hopefully you get the admits that you are waiting for. Why not Princeton? I've heard good things. I've heard Princeton in Big Bang Theory, but other than that, I've not.
So in general, apart from Columbia and Penn, none of the Ivies are great for master's level education. Most of them are great at the undergraduate level. Some of them are terrific at the PhD level. At the master's level, none of the professors care about you because they are trying to teach undergrads and they are trying to research with PhDs. At the master's level, for the amount of money that you're paying, it's just not something that makes sense.
Got it. Okay. Confused between SBU, MCS. What is SBU?
Stony Brook.
Oh, okay. And UMass, I want to get into research, particularly computer vision. UMass has a better reputation, but if I'm not wrong, SBU has a better CV faculty.
Yeah.
Your opinion?
In general, understand again. I want to read the question. I want to get into research. Okay. In general, at the master's level, you will not do too much research. So keep that in mind. Second, if the goal is to get out and start working as a computer vision specialist at let's say a Uber or a Tesla or one of these automobile manufacturing companies, Stony Brook is the right place for you to go. Overall, there are two things that Stony Brook is great at. One is computer vision research, and two is infrastructure and system design. Those are two things that Stony Brook is very, very good. UMass, on the other hand, is really good at architecture, really good at DSA, the foundational elements of computer science, it's pretty good at. But if you want to go to computer vision, I would pick Stony Brook over UMass. I would also pick Stony Brook because of the location. 1/3 the cost of NYU and Columbia with the same job opportunity pool that is open to you because of the fact that you are in New York City. So that's how I would make that decision.
Yeah. I just want to quickly remind, we are at 30-minute mark, and I already see 200 plus questions. So we might not be able to get to everybody. I am posting the link again. You are welcome to schedule the call. It's a free 30-minute strategy call, especially if you're still thinking about going to fall or next fall or spring. Happy to help you.
Yeah. Hey, just 1 second. So we've been taking these calls all through for the last few weeks. A lot of you seem to be scheduling calls just to figure out A versus B. I think that A versus B or university X versus Y, that's a much easier question for us to answer on text or on LinkedIn or on the comments here, as compared to using that 30-minute to actually figure out what your strategy for next fall or this fall or application strategy, etc. should be. So if it's this versus that question, feel free to ping us on LinkedIn or find our WhatsApp groups, etc. and do that. Use the 30-minute conversation to actually do some strategic thinking. Should I go? Should I not go? If I'm going, what does the timeline and strategy for that look like? The much more tactical questions of this versus that, I think we can solve on text as comments, and I'll have a team member dedicated to look at the comments as well and go through that and respond to those.
Yeah. Okay, we got our super chat.
Hey, okay.
Masters.
Did we have any last time?
I don't think so. I think it's your effect. You bring super chat. Masters in supply chain management. I've received admits from University of Maryland and USC. Which one do I pick? Might take a loan to cover only tuition fee.
Okay. Contrary to popular opinion, my recommendation would be Southern California. USC has one of, I wouldn't say one of the best, but a fantastic industrial engineering department, which is where the supply chain management sits out of. Second point, USC, LA particularly, is very close to the port, which means that there are a ton of industries in LA, in San Diego, etc., that hire a lot of the supply chain guys. USC supply chain has also sent folks to Apple and Microsoft and Intel, where they work on the logistics, the procurement teams, etc., for these three companies within the semiconductor industry. My recommendation here is USC, even though it's higher in terms of the tuition fee. There are much more opportunities in that LA, SD, Central Valley, California Central Valley region for industrial folks as compared to Maryland, Boston, DC, that area. So for that reason, I would recommend USC. But if it's even a little bit of a financial pinch, you are not able to get the loan that you needed, or you don't want to spend as much money, then Maryland is not a bad option. I would personally prefer USC over Maryland. And I would also make sure that you are looking at the industries that are in LA even before you head there. And I'm sure UD will have someone in the community that have already done that path. In fact, we have had a ton of students go to the SCM program and the MBA with SCM specialization at USC, and have gotten into companies like Niagara Bottling, which does a ton of bottling industrial for Coca-Cola and a lot of the large manufacturers, etc. And so I would pick USC over Maryland, but if it's even a little bit of a financial pinch, you should be okay going to Maryland as well.
So is it UMCP or UMBC?
I am sure it's not Baltimore. If he's gotten into USC, I would assume this is going to be College Park.
Okay, gotcha.
Do not do Baltimore County in any case. Like, stay away.
Right. And then College Park, again, I don't know about supply chain program, but I know they do give a lot of tuition fee waivers if you end up getting TA and RA. So that's another thing that you should also consider. Of course, like USC may have that advantage of a location, but if, again, I don't know, we can help you figure this out. But if you end up getting TA for 1 or 2 semester, I mean, that's going to reduce your loan to maybe 20 lakhs. And that is a much better feeling than having an 80 lakh loan. So,
like I said, if finances are a little bit of a concern as well, then I would choose Maryland, because like UD saying, a lot more TARA opportunities. USC is a private institution. Consider the fact that the tuition is going to be much higher. But if finances are not a concern, then I would stick to USC.
Yeah. Okay, Suraj, looks like you bring that. Got admits from Stony Brook, NYU, and Rice University from Masters in Computer Science. I'm still waiting from University of Wisconsin, Madison, and Purdue. What is your take, and which one should I take up?
Okay, I'm going to spend a little bit of time here. Anytime you say NYU, I am suspicious. It's most likely Tandon. If I'm going to check if Courant has released anything. Courant has not released anything, so I'm fairly certain this is Tandon. Okay. Do you have thoughts before I go ahead?
I mean, my first thought is Stony Brook, but like you said, if NYU Courant is in the play, maybe slightly different, unless you have financial concerns. Stony Brook is extremely strong. Of course, Purdue and Madison is there, but like from your admits, I feel that's what my thought. I don't know about Rice University as much as maybe Suraj, you might have more.
Yeah. My recommendation would be to put Purdue number 1 if you get it. If you get it, Purdue MSCS, it is not comparable to any of the other admits that you've gotten. Purdue MSCS particularly is a small cohort size, about 40-50, has a ton of folks coming in from the IITs in India and BITS in India. So they have a very high academic bar for entry. So if you get into Purdue, that's money number 1. The number 2 would be a toss-up between Stony Brook and Rice, considering that NYU is Tandon. If it is Tandon, please keep it out. You do not need to consider it. If it is Courant, we will talk about it. My number 2 is between Stony Brook and Rice, and it's a it depends answer. If you are looking at specifically working in anything related to the medical industry, Rice is where you should go. It's a private institution in Houston. It is surrounded by some of the best hospitals, biotechnology, biomedical, robotics in the healthcare sort of space, and a couple of fantastic professors that have literally written the textbooks that you are going to study for things like data science. Hadley Wickham teaches there, who's the creator of the R programming language. So if the goal is to do anything related to healthcare, Rice would be my option. But no, if I am domain agnostic or more of the data science within the general software industry, or data science as applied to computer vision in firms like Tesla, Uber, etc., then I would pick Stony Brook. Consider also the tuition difference between both of them. Stony Brook is going to be about $34,000 per year times 3. You will graduate in 3. Plus, you will get decent amount of TARA opportunities, whereas Rice is going to be $52,000 a year, $48,000 to $52,000 a year times 3. And so you've got to keep that steep difference in price under consideration. Keeping all of that, Stony Brook, amongst the admits that you've gotten so far, considering that it is NYU Tandon, Stony Brook would be the option. If you get into Purdue, that becomes the number one.
Yeah. Also, you are in New York with Stony Brook as well. I mean, it's going to take a couple of train rides to get to the Manhattan, but all I'm saying is like you have access to a lot of like startups and tech companies and financial fintech companies in New York as well. So
and data science companies as well. A lot of them seem to be moving to New York City.
Yeah. So I know that there are founders and all of it over there, which you can network, which you might not have option with Rice. So anyway. Yep. Cool. Okay, looks like we are filled with all the super chat now because people want to get their question answered. Sure. Masters in computer science, I've secured NEU Boston with 8% scholarship on tuition fee and Stevens Institute of Technology. Okay, I've 1.5 years experience as an automation engineer.
Ajay, this is not a question of this versus that. This is a question of should I even go? That's the question I would ask myself. If it's a question as simple as Northeastern Boston versus Stevens is not at the same level. You can safely ignore it and go to Boston. But this becomes a larger question of, given the work experience that I have, given the kind of profile that I have built up so far, should I even go and get a master's in 2026, starting 2026 or not? My answer to that is, if Northeastern is the only university that you have gotten into, you might want to think and see if there's a way for you to improve the university. 1.5 years of experience as automation engineer, there is there's no harm in getting actual software development or whichever kind of job you want to do, that kind of experience before you head on. I would personally recommend that you defer the NEU Boston admit. They will do deferrals in most cases and see if there's a way for you to get into a better institution. If there isn't, and you're hard pressed to go between one out of these two, I would recommend going to Boston.
I would also recommend Boston. And one other thing, philosophically, I'm assuming you probably spend time and energy and you are going to feel sunk cost fallacy that, I've spent so much time and energy and I finally got an admit. And at this point, we are telling you to defer it. But also know it's coming from a perspective, because I see thousands of students who are not getting jobs, and there are thousands of people who are with 3-4 years of experience. They are struggling to get an interview call. So maybe your experience and maybe your profile, we might be able to get you better admit in 2027, and you might be able to be in a better hands next year. And that 1 year is not going to change your life. So yeah. I would I understand the sunk cost fallacy, but try to avoid that if based on what we said. But if you're like, I don't care and I have to go, then Boston might be is the best choice. Yeah. Cool. 4 years SD experience in mainframes. Nice. Admit from data science from University of Florida, ASU, Syracuse, 35% scholarship, I'm assuming. SJSU data intelligence. Which should I select? I want to change my profile to data science, AL, ML side. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You can take two places out of the equation, ASU and Syracuse. You can eliminate those two straightforward. Here is the kicker, right? 4 years of WorkX, fantastic. Unfortunately, it's in mainframes. It's not in the same domain as you want to move to, which is data science. So you need two things. Some amount of time while you're in the university to build up a profile that is suitable to the kind of job that you want. And second, most importantly, a huge network for you to get that job. And Florida, unfortunately, is not the right kind of place where you can network as compared to a San Jose. Even though San Jose is not at the same level from a curriculum perspective as the University of Florida, or reputation wise, not at the same level as the University of Florida. In this case, I think San Jose State is the right choice because it gives you one huge advantage of location that University of Florida is never going to be able to do. What this means is if you go to San Jose though, you will struggle because the curriculum is not great, especially the data intelligence course is not, I should say, is subpar. You can get most of what they're teaching you from YouTube. However, you cannot get the experience of having a Microsoft senior whatever engineer data science guy coming and giving you a talk on what their day-to-day looks like, or having someone from OpenAI or any of the other new age AI companies coming and giving you a talk on how they've built some modules of, let's say, Claude Code or etc. That is irreplaceable. And that's why I would recommend.
And I would say like 30 to 60% of the professors are working in big tech over there in San Jose. So you have access to these people who are teaching you a class, who are also working. So you're learning a lot more what is industry going through. So I am also probably biased towards San Jose, but
that bias is justified. Like the outcomes are there, the profs, at least a good chunk of the profs are practitioners, and just that ecosystem is unbelievable unless you've actually been there. Most of them will curse us for saying, curse us for saying San Jose over University of Florida, but this is the truly on the ground information that we are giving to any student, right? Like from an outsider's perspective, University of Florida is 50 ranks above San Jose. But from a practical perspective, it just doesn't make sense to leave San Jose, even though University of Florida is good.
The only caveat to all of this is, Aditya, if you are an introvert and if you stay in your room, San Jose will not do anything for you. So I've seen students I've actually been to San Jose 4 to 5 times, San Jose State University. And I've met students who have struggled because they were not introvert. They wasted first 2 semester, and then they realized the real game and the real advantage is to actually go to the events and talk to people and get out of their comfort zone, because they thought, I don't want to do this. I'm too cool for this. So don't make that mistake. Okay. Babson College MSBA Fall 2026, worth it or not?
The way I answer this is 2 parts. First, MSBA as a degree is something that I'm very suspicious about. Analytics as a degree in 2026 and beyond is something that I would only do if there is nothing else that I'm fitting into. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, I would go to Babson if I have entrepreneurial objectives in mind. I want to start up. I want an ecosystem where a bunch of folks around me are motivated to start up. I want to find my next co-founder. So Babson is a very, very entrepreneurial institute, not that great from an academic standpoint. So if this is the only place that you've gotten into, sure. But if there are others, I would think about the others.
Got admit in NYU Tandon, MS Biomedical Engineering with 9,000 scholarship. Also have offers from Northeastern and Georgetown in MS Bioinformatics. Which one do I pick?
From a fee / cost of attendance perspective, NYU and Georgetown are going to be about the same. Northeastern is not on that same level, but also not on the same level from a bioinformatics, biomedical sort of stuff. So you can safely ignore Northeastern. Between Tandon and Georgetown, I would pick NYU just for the location advantage. Georgetown is great, but not at the master's level. It's great for if you're wanting to go towards policy, if you're wanting to go towards law, if you're wanting to go towards international relations and government. For those, Georgetown is great, not for some of the STEM-based courses, plus the fact that you have $9,000 from Tandon. Good choice, you can go ahead.
Boston does have healthcare stuff.
It does.
And it is also big pharma hub as well. But not
justify
even Biomed, yeah. And you have 9,000 scholarships. So same comment that I applied to San Jose State, also same for NYU people as well, because you are using an advantage of New York. Okay. Do you think leaving a 25 to 30 lakhs per annum job to do an MEM from a top university in US is a wise decision, keeping in the mind the situation right now? Ooh.
Yeah. If you're already making 25 to 30 in India, even actually, let me amend that statement. Even if you are making upwards of 50 lakh in India, you are primarily working for a multinational corporation headquartered in the US. Most of the decisions that you take on a day-to-day basis don't really matter. And I'm talking about some of the big companies there are, right? Google, Amazon, Microsoft in India, all of these firms get their strategy and ideas from the Valley, and the implementation happens mostly in India. If you are in a job where the growth, think 2 levels up, your manager's manager, where are they sitting? And if that is where you want to be, you have to shift geography, because that's where most of that thinking, decision making is happening. If you're happy with what you're making right now, you don't need to make the switch. Stay in the same company for 2 years and then switch out. You will, by that time, you will continue to make whatever amount of money, for 40, 50, 60 lakh. But if you're ambitious, if you want to be where the decisions are made, and you want to be working on cutting edge work, then I think it's a wise decision to go to a top university for any degree. Does not have to be MEM or CS or whatever. For any degree, if you're going to a top university, then these 3 conditions have to be satisfied.
I have so many thoughts. I need like more than one line. So I feel like I won't do justice to this answer. In general, like it depends, like what is your ambition level, right? Like if I meet you and I feel like you're like really ambitious and you really want to build products and you want to be in the product industry, if you are able to make it in India, I feel like you have a very strong chances in United States. But then at the same time, you're like, I'm good. Like then I think 30 lakhs is good in India. Like I would wait for the situation to calm down a bit before you make it here. So it just really depends how passionate you are. It is going to be extremely hard, and you will doubt every single day until you get an internship or a co-op that why the heck did I leave 30 lakh per annum job and came here. This feeling you will get until you have a job offer. Once you have a job offer, then you'll be like, everything was worth it. This is the transition I've seen in last 2 years of students, where they go through this dark phase, that I am doubting every single day of my life. And then they work in Microsoft, Walmart, and big tech, and or even smaller companies, and they're like, everything was worth it. So how much work you are willing to put in is. So yeah. Okay. Last 2 questions. Do not do super chat. After this, we will not be able to answer it. I got admit from UC Boulder and Sunny Buffalo with $9,000 scholarship for data science and waiting for TAMU. I also applied in Australia, I'm assuming. Got admit from USYD for MSCS.
Sydney.
Sydney. Okay.
Very simple. Do not go to Australia. do whatever you can to avoid that country. Like I do not understand the fascination, right? And let me give you some numbers to put all of this in perspective. I come from Hyderabad, which is not one of the bigger cities, by the way. Like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, and then Hyderabad, right? The entire city of Hyderabad is bigger than the country of Australia. Like I can't go from one end of Hyderabad to the other end And that's the ecosystem that we've built around here, as compared to Australia, where it's an entire country, huge, right? But there are no jobs. I would highly recommend anybody thinking about Australia to drop that plan unless you're going there, one, to settle down, immigrate, or you're okay with a slightly mediocre, balanced work-life balance sort of a thing that you want to go for. Those are the only two reasons you should think about Australia. Between the three, did you get Texas A&M? Waiting for Texas A&M. Number one choice would be Texas A&M DS. Number two is Boulder for data science. Irrespective of the fact that you've gotten scholarship from Buffalo, Boulder is a much, much better institution overall. And that's what my recommendation would be at this point in time. If you get into Texas A&M, you should head there.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add, but I agree. So here we go. Guys, do not, no more super chat. We will not be able to, I have to leave. So that's why I'm letting everyone know that I do have to go. I want to do bachelor's in computer science from USA, and I've got admitted in Iowa State University, CSU East Bay, San Francisco State University, Arizona State University Polytech on IT, and UIC AAP program. I've got average profile. Could you suggest me what to do?
Yeah. There are two things that I can recommend for you, my friend. First is, if there's a way for you to do your undergrad in India and then head out for a master's, I would do that. None of these institutions are going to be able to help you go and get a job after you graduate unless you have a US citizenship, which I'm assuming you don't. The second thing, and slightly riskier option that I would recommend, is to either go to East Bay or SF State and try to transfer from there after your first year into one of the UCs, the University of California system, or any of the other institutions that are much, much better. I would absolutely avoid Iowa. I would absolutely avoid ASU Poly, and I would not do the associates program at UIC. Your only two choices, if you absolutely must go, are East Bay and SF State. And even in those two cases, my recommendation would be that you think about transferring out from those to a better university after year one. If there is a way for you to maybe take a gap year and apply again, I would highly encourage that.
Yeah. I've actually seen students transferring from San Francisco to San Jose State.
Berkeley.
Or Berkeley. Yeah. So I agree. And yeah, do not do AAP program.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Feel free to schedule Melvin's call with us.
I'd love to do that call myself.
Yeah, this is where we can actually dig deeper into that. Okay, to last two questions. Masters in Cybersecurity, UB Buffalo, $9,000 scholarship, and IIT Chicago, $14,500 scholarship. Should I consider?
There were so many questions around cybersecurity, and I've tried to answer this multiple times. Maybe one of the things I will do is get someone who knows more. Get someone who's working in cybersecurity to talk to guys about it. It's not a rosy picture. Most of them end up working for the government, and you need secret clearance, which is very difficult to get. And therefore, you end up working for a contractor as a subcontractor, right? And so the amount of money you can make, limited, unless you make the big move. First point. Second, neither of these are great for cybersecurity. If I'm doing cybersecurity, which is already niche, I'd much rather go to a Georgia Tech, a Maryland, maybe something in that area, in the Maryland, Virginia tri-state area. So VT, UVA, all of those kinds of places, as compared to either of these two. But if you had to pick from these two, I would go to Buffalo. It's a state university, cheaper. IIT Chicago is just not there.
I mean, I've seen cybersecurity engineers getting jobs because not everything is going to be government related. Like every
Yeah,
single
I'm saying
company,
majority.
every single company is going to have a security department with AI. Now there's going to be governance, there's going to be SOC. So I think, Devansh, it depends on where do you want to be in cybersecurity, right? Do you want to be in SOC 2 compliance type of thing? Do you want to be in red team, purple team, blue team? Um, do you want to? Yeah, so I think it really depends on all of those factors, because, like I said, private companies will have those options, and you don't need security clearance for that. But you do need for a lot of the companies, because you're going to be touching a lot of fat data, and they will not let you. I mean, like, I'm curious, like, why you said no to IIT Chicago, because it's in Chicago, and they do have a lot of like Discover and United Airlines.
Yeah.
And
Problem is it's in Chicago, sure, but it's surrounded by at least 3 universities that are better than that. Actually, 4. I'm considering UIUC as being in Chicago, but University of Chicago, Northwestern, and University of Illinois Chicago, all 3 are much better than IIT Chicago. That's point number 1. Point number 2, IIT Chicago is a private institution in Chicago and is expensive. Even after the scholarship, it's going to be much more expensive than Buffalo. Third, Buffalo is a big state university, so your chances of getting RATA much higher than anything at IIT Chicago. So those are 3 reasons why I would say Buffalo as compared to IIT.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right. Last question. Got UMass, SBU, Stony Brook, Northeastern Boston, Masters of Computer Science, waiting for UIUC, TAMU, North Carolina State University, UV Madison. I have 2 years of SD experience in American MNC. Is it worth going to any of these programs, leaving my current job?
Yeah, you can take Northeastern out of the equation. Absolutely, yes. I think given the fact that you have 2 years of, I'm assuming, good SD at an MNC, you will have, provided you build a little bit of network and polish off the resume and do some lead code work, you will get your interviews. Whether or not that interview converts into a full-time role is going to be dependent on you. But I don't see too many reasons for why you will not get the initial interview. Okay. In order of priority, I would recommend UIUC number 1, Texas A&M number 2, Stony Brook number 3, UMass number 4. So out of the ones that you have gotten into so far, my recommendation would be between Stony Brook and UMass, with giving a little bit of higher priority to Stony Brook as compared to UMass.
Yeah. Yeah, and then really depends how much money you make. So if you're making anything below like 12x, it's probably,
yeah, I'd be concerned.
Right. No, then it makes sense for you to go, because like you're not making that much money. But if you are making more money and you're like, it depends on a lot of things. Plus, what did you do in 2 years? It is also like, if it's an American MNC, again, I don't know what the company is, and if it's a good brand, that's a good sign. Like you just now have to figure out how to package your resume to get an interview call. So, but Stony Brook, like Suraj said, would be good. UIUC obviously is also good. Yeah, your focus should be, you have gotten a good admin, so your focus should be switching from now to getting into job hunting mode. Yes, now. If you're really serious, then that's when you should start thinking about how you're going to get interview calls. Okay. Yeah. Last question. I have 3.6 years as a full stack developer, but BTech in mechanical with 6.5 CGPA, applied for masters in computer science at East Bay or IIT Chicago, Indiana State. Will I get admit? Ooh.
The answer is, it should not matter if you get an admit or not. You should not go to any of these places. I'm sorry, I'm being a little harsh, but especially moving from an undergraduate degree where you have not studied some of the computer science foundational elements academically, even though you have some work experience around it, but you don't have the academic background. My recommendation, given that GPA and given the WorkX, would be to look at an information systems degree at a top 20 institution. That's going to be a much better fit as compared to a CS at a top 50, top 60 sort of a place. It's also going to get you more, just the brand name of institution, if you get into a good one, is going to get you a few more interviews as compared to something like a Indiana State or even a IIT Chicago for that matter. So I would reconsider choices of master's degree. I would reconsider applying again, and I would also reconsider some of the institutions that you have mentioned here.
Yeah. Georgia Tech, UT Austin, and Purdue, which is the better MSCS program?
This is like asking me pav bhaji versus samosa chaat versus cutlet chaat, which is good. So I'm going to go eat chaat. But Georgia Tech number one, between the other two, absolutely no differentiation.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech is, I would say, one notch slightly ahead of both of these, but the other two, I have absolutely no way of differentiating between them.
And you also have a slightly advantage of location. Atlanta has all the big techs there as well. So, and one of the biggest airport too, which I found out.
Yeah.
Most connected airlines are from Atlanta. So
yeah.
Okay, one more super chat. So, got Duke M Masters in Engineering Cybersecurity. I want red team roles. Is it a good course? Duke is a really good brand, but the course is new. I like that you know the clarity. So apparently, Ash, what is your background like? Do you have work experience? Let me know in the chat. But Duke Engineering Cybersecurity, what do you think, Suraj?
I have no data. It's a 2-year-old, 1-year-old or a 2-year-old program. No one's graduated yet, or I haven't seen any outcomes from there yet. So I have nothing to go on about the program itself, except for the fact that if you go to Duke and if you're able to, do well from a networking perspective, you should be able to land a job. 7-month internship. Maybe defer it and see if you can get some more WorkX before going.
And maybe see if you can get into Georgia Tech security program.
Sure. Yeah.
So, because you'll have 1 year. I mean, I don't know if you can or not. We can help you after. But I would, don't rush this decision because you have a specific need. Talk to the students. I don't know. Do we have any students, Suraj?
I can't think of any. I can't remember. I can't think of any. We haven't put anyone in this program just yet.
Yeah. So maybe reach out to the alumni, Ash, if you can, and see if they got any internships or co-ops from this.
Yeah.
Raleigh does have a lot of security roles because we have Fidelity over here. The big presence of Fidelity is here, which is one of the big brokerage for retirement. There's more than 10,000 employees. So it does have a security, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know enough. Don't want to misguide you. Okay, cool. Thank you, everybody. It was fun. Suraj, hopefully we'll see you next week as well.
Yeah.
And Shikhar, hope to see you next week too. We'll be there next week, 7:30 p.m. IST. And again, if you feel free to schedule a call. If you have any further questions, leave it in the comments. We will try to get to it. We'll have some of our team members to answer some of the this versus that question in the comments.
Yeah.
But for now, thank you, everybody. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, guys. See you.
Suraj, you hold on.